Most men over 45 make a silent mistake every morning. Not a dramatic mistake, not something obvious, an invisible daily mistake that has been building up for years and is methodically destroying their testosterone, their vitality, their strength, and their mental clarity without them even realizing it. And the worst part is that most of you are doing this habit, believing you are doing the right thing, believing you are taking care of your health, believing you are following good advice. Today I'm going to reveal what it is. But before that, let me ask you a question. Do you recognize yourself in this picture? And you wake up in the morning and you don't really feel rested even after 7 or 8 hours of sleep. You struggle to lose belly fat despite regular efforts. Your energy crashes in the middle of the afternoon. Your libido is not what it used to be. You have less patience, less motivation, less of that inner fire that used to make you wake up ready to attack the day. You blame it on age, stress, work. But what if I told you that all of this, the fatigue, the belly fat, the lack of energy, the low libido, all points to one single biological culprit that nobody has properly explained to you. That culprit is the decline of your testosterone and the silent habit that accelerates it every morning. I'm going to reveal it in a few minutes. First, I need to give you the scientific context, because if you don't understand the mechanism, you won't understand why this habit is so destructive, and you won't make lasting changes. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm not only going to give you the diagnosis, what is happening inside your body, but also a concrete 3-step solution that you can start applying today. Not in 6 months, not after a complete diet overhaul. Today, and this solution costs nothing. It requires no medication and no overpriced supplements. It only requires that you understand how your body actually works after 45. Let's start with the biology. Testosterone is the central hormone of male vitality. That's not just the sex hormone, as people often oversimplify it. It's the hormone of construction. It builds muscle mass, strengthens bones, regulates fat distribution in your body, influences your mood and motivation, supports cognitive clarity, maintains bone density, regulates libido, and plays a fundamental role in cardiovascular health. When your testosterone is optimal, your body functions like a well-oiled machine. When it declines, everything deteriorates at the same time. And that's exactly what millions of men over 45 are experiencing without identifying the real cause. Here are the numbers your doctor may not necessarily tell you during your checkup. A healthy young man typically has total testosterone levels between 600 and 900 nanograms per deciliter. After age 30, testosterone naturally declines by about 1 to 2% per year. That means that by age 45, a man may already have lost between 15 and 30% of his baseline testosterone. By 55, potentially 25 to 40%. And by 65, some men are functioning with less than half of their optimal testosterone levels. Conventional medicine calls this decline andropause, or late-onset hypogonadism. And the standard response is often either to tell you that it's normal and inevitable, or to offer hormone replacement therapy with its benefits and risks. But here's what conventional medicine too often fails to tell you. This decline is not entirely inevitable. Aging does affect hormone production. That is biological reality. But the speed of this decline, its severity, and especially its consequences on your quality of life are heavily influenced by factors you control. Your diet, your sleep, your stress levels, your physical activity, and especially certain daily habits that you may have adopted without realizing their hormonal impact. Now let's talk about the symptoms most men ignore or misunderstand. Because testosterone decline does not always show up in obvious ways, it doesn't send you a loud alarm signal. It installs itself progressively, silently, and you attribute it to something else. The first overlooked symptom is background fatigue. Not acute fatigue after effort, a chronic baseline fatigue that never fully disappears, even after a good night of sleep. You wake up already tired. You feel okay in the morning, but your energy collapses early in the afternoon, and you need caffeine or sugar to make it through the evening. That roller coaster energy pattern is a classic sign of hormonal imbalance, especially low testosterone combined with chronically elevated cortisol. The second overlooked symptom is abdominal fat gain despite a reasonable diet. Testosterone and estrogen exist in constant balance inside the male body. Yes, men have estrogen too in small amounts, and that's normal. But when testosterone drops, that balance shifts. And abdominal fat, visceral fat stored around your organs, acts like an estrogen factory. It contains an enzyme called aromatase that converts testosterone into estrogen. The more abdominal fat you have, the more testosterone you convert into estrogen. The lower your testosterone becomes, the more abdominal fat you store. It's a vicious hormonal and metabolic cycle that many men over 45 never escape because they do not understand the mechanism behind it. The third overlooked symptom is the loss of muscle mass and the difficulty building muscle. You lift weights, you eat protein, but your progress stalls or reverses. Testosterone is the body's main anabolic hormone. It is the signal that tells your muscles to grow and maintain themselves. Without enough testosterone, even with perfect training, your body progressively loses its ability to build and preserve muscle mass. The fourth overlooked symptom is irritability, mood swings, and low motivation. That feeling of lacking drive, that difficulty getting excited about projects that once energized you, that tendency to become more irritable, less patient, more easily discouraged. This is not simply psychological. It is not clinical depression. It is a well-documented hormonal response to testosterone decline. Testosterone directly influences dopamine, the neurotransmitter of motivation and pleasure. When testosterone drops, dopamine follows, and with it goes your sense of vitality and enthusiasm. The fifth overlooked symptom is poor sleep quality, and this is something extremely important to understand. Low testosterone and poor sleep exist in a circular and destructive relationship. Low testosterone disrupts deep sleep, and poor sleep reduces testosterone production because most of your daily testosterone is produced during sleep, especially during deep sleep phases. Just one night of poor sleep can reduce your next day testosterone by 10 to 15%. 5 consecutive nights of insufficient sleep can reduce testosterone by 25 to 30%. That's the equivalent of 10 to 15 years of hormonal aging in 1 week. Let's talk about the real biological causes. Not superficial causes, not simply age or stress, but the deeper mechanisms explaining why your testosterone is declining faster than it should. The first cause, and this is where the silent morning habit comes in, is insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation. Here is the connection very few people make, and this is the heart of what I want to explain today. When you regularly consume refined carbohydrates, white bread, breakfast cereals, fruit juice, pastries, sweetened coffee, cookies, white pasta, your blood sugar rises rapidly. Your pancreas releases insulin to move that glucose into your cells. Over time and repetition, your cells become less sensitive to insulin. That is insulin resistance. And insulin resistance has a direct and documented effect on testosterone production. It significantly reduces it. The mechanism is the following. Chronically elevated insulin suppresses the production of LH, luteinizing hormone, which is the signal your brain sends to your testicles to produce testosterone. Less LH means less testosterone. At the same time, chronically elevated insulin increases aromatase activity, the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. A devastating double effect, less production and more conversion. And now the silent morning habit. It's what many of you do, believing you are starting your day properly. A sugary coffee, fruit juice, breakfast cereals, white bread, or a combination of all of them for breakfast. This ultra-high fast sugar breakfast, consumed at the exact moment when your cortisol is naturally at its peak, because cortisol follows a circadian rhythm with the morning maximum, creates a disastrous hormonal double spike, a blood sugar spike first, then an insulin spike on top of already elevated cortisol. And high cortisol plus high insulin is the most destructive hormonal combination your body can experience for testosterone production. Repeated every morning for years, this silent habit can easily reduce your functional testosterone by 20 to 30%. The second real biological cause is chronic stress and excess cortisol. Cortisol and testosterone directly compete inside your body. They are synthesized from the same hormonal precursor, pregnenolone. And when your body prioritizes cortisol production because of chronic stress, it produces less testosterone. This is called the pregnenolone steal effect. And your body perceives chronic professional, relational, or financial stress as a permanent threat. And biologically, in the face of permanent threat, your body sacrifices testosterone in favor of cortisol, because cortisol is the hormone of immediate survival. And testosterone is the hormone of long-term construction and reproduction. In an environment of chronic stress, your biology prioritizes survival and sacrifices everything else. The third biological cause is circadian rhythm disruption. Your body produces testosterone according to a precise rhythm. Levels are highest early in the morning after quality sleep and decline throughout the day. This rhythm is regulated by your internal biological clock, which depends on natural light exposure, meal timing, and sleep-wake cycles. When you disrupt these rhythms, going to bed after midnight, looking at bright screens at night, eating late, working in spaces without natural light, you desynchronize your biological clock. You disrupt melatonin secretion. You degrade deep sleep, and you reduce nighttime testosterone production. The fourth cause is deficiency in specific micronutrients. Testosterone production is a complex enzymatic process requiring several nutritional cofactors. Zinc is the most critical. It is directly involved in testosterone synthesis, and zinc deficiency can reduce testosterone by 25% or more. Vitamin D, which is actually a hormone precursor, is a direct regulator of testosterone production. Studies show that men deficient in vitamin D have significantly lower testosterone levels. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including several stages of hormone synthesis, and vitamin B6 is necessary for regulating SSHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, which determines how much of your total testosterone is biologically active and available to your cells. Now let's talk about the long-term consequences of chronically low testosterone, because this is where things become truly serious. Chronically low testosterone after 45 is not just about vitality or libido. It has profound long-term health consequences. The first consequence is muscle loss and sarcopenia. This progressive degeneration of skeletal muscle begins silently and over 10 or 20 years transforms a man's body composition, reduces physical strength, increases vulnerability to falls and fractures, and lowers basal metabolism, making weight control even more difficult. The second long-term consequence is cardiovascular deterioration. Contrary to what was once believed, testosterone is protective for the heart. It maintains blood vessel elasticity, regulates lipid profiles, reduces vascular inflammation, and supports cardiac muscle mass. Long-term studies show that men with low testosterone levels have a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes. The third consequence is cognitive decline. Testosterone plays a role in neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, and in protecting neurons from oxidative stress. Low testosterone levels are associated with accelerated cognitive decline, concentration difficulties, weaker memory, and increased risk of clinical depression and neurodegenerative disorders. The fourth consequence is bone fragility. Testosterone alongside estrogen through partial conversion is essential for maintaining bone density in men. Chronically low testosterone significantly increases the risk of osteopenia, osteoporosis, and fractures in men over 60, a risk that medicine too often associates only with women. But here is the good news, and I want you to hear this clearly because it changes everything. Your testosterone is not a fixed destiny. Your biology is not immutable. With the right interventions at the right time, research shows that it is possible to significantly optimize testosterone naturally, without medication, without injections, without estrogen-related risks. Well-conducted studies show increases of 20 to 40% in total and free testosterone in men aged 45 to 65 after applying targeted nutritional and lifestyle interventions for 3 to 6 months. So here is the concrete 3-step solution. And I want you to keep it simple because complexity is the enemy of action. Step 1, perform your breakfast or adopt morning intermittent fasting. Remember the silent habit we talked about, and breakfast rich in fast carbohydrates combined with elevated morning cortisol is the worst possible combination for your testosterone. There are 2 ways to fix it. The first is replacing your current breakfast with a meal rich in protein and healthy fats without refined carbohydrates. Whole eggs, 2 to 4 cooked in butter or coconut oil, avocado, smoked salmon, hard cheese, cold cuts. This kind of breakfast does not create a blood sugar spike, does not trigger an insulin spike, and does not sabotage your morning testosterone. On the contrary, the healthy fats and proteins it contains provide the precursors and cofactors necessary for hormone synthesis. The second option, often even more effective for men wanting to optimize testosterone, is morning intermittent fasting, meaning not eating anything until noon or 1 p.m., or consuming only water, black coffee without sugar or tea. Intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity, which is the exact mechanism that allows testosterone to rise. It also increases LH production, the brain signal that stimulates testosterone production in the testicles, and it boosts growth hormone production, which works synergistically with testosterone to maintain body composition and vitality. Step 2, optimize your sleep with surgical precision, not just sleep more. Sleep better and strategically. Here is the protocol. Go to bed before 10:30 or 11 p.m. at the latest. The sleep window between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when testosterone and growth hormone secretion is most intense. Every hour of sleep lost in this window is a significant hormonal loss. Keep your bedroom cool between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius. Nighttime thermoregulation is directly linked to deep sleep quality. Avoid all blue light, phones, computers, television during the 90 minutes before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin and delays deep sleep. If possible, expose yourself to natural light within 30 minutes of waking up. Go outside. Walk outdoors. Open your windows wide. This anchors your circadian rhythm and optimizes testosterone secretion for the next day. And consume magnesium bisglycinate, about 300 to 400 milligrams before bed. Magnesium improves deep sleep quality and directly increases bioavailable testosterone by reducing SHBG binding. Step 3, integrate strength training into your weekly routine with enough frequency and intensity. Resistance training and weightlifting and progressive body weight exercises, called that is the most powerful natural hormonal stimulus you can give your body to produce testosterone. Here are the parameters that truly matter. First, frequency. 3 to 4 sessions per week is the documented optimum for testosterone production. Below that, the stimulus is insufficient. Above that, you risk overtraining, which chronically elevates cortisol and suppresses testosterone. Second, intensity. Heavy compound exercises, squats, deadlifts, bench press, weighted pull-ups, rowing generate the strongest anabolic response. They recruit large muscle groups and create a powerful systemic hormonal signal. Finally, duration. Workouts lasting 45 to 60 minutes are optimal. Beyond 60 to 75 minutes of intense training, cortisol begins to dominate and the hormonal response reverses. And one final element, one many people neglect when discussing testosterone, sunlight exposure and vitamin D optimization. Vitamin D is actually a prohormone converted into its active form inside your body. And this active form acts directly on Leydig cells, the cells in your testicles that produce testosterone. Optimal vitamin D levels, it was between 60 and 80 nanograms per milliliter, are associated with significantly higher testosterone levels. And the vast majority of men over 45 living in northern latitudes or working indoors have insufficient vitamin D levels. 20 to 30 minutes of direct sunlight exposure on your arms and legs several times a week is the best way to obtain it. And during winter, or for those who cannot get enough sunlight, supplementing with 2,000 to 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 combined with vitamin K2 is a nutritional intervention with an exceptional risk-benefit ratio. I'll see you in the next video. And if this video helped you understand how to stop this silent morning habit that destroys your testosterone after 45, subscribe to this channel, because every week I share content about male vitality after 45, built on serious scientific foundations, explained clearly, without unnecessary jargon, and without a commercial agenda. Share this video with the men around you who deserve access to this information. And leave me a comment with this question. Does your doctor already measure your free testosterone during your annual checkup? I'm curious to know how many of you already have access to this information. I read every comment. Take care of yourselves. Your health is too important to be neglected.